Today is Wednesday, July the 1st, 2026. The time is 11:12 a.m. And I titled this one, as you can see, Caitlin Clark is a tool for this. This is why they get behind her. This is why they love to get behind her. Let me add that love on now, right? And I was a friend of mine sent me this video by Emmanuel Acho, right? And this is the thing that we always say, that psychopathic fan bases, be it the Bronze Sexuals, the Beehive, the Swifties, the Prime Sexuals, that's my add on. They take the love out of whatever it is. But I want to focus on those sports figures. I want to focus on the Clarkies. Let's call them the Clarkies. Right? And I've said this several times on these lives, that it's not even the fact that they love her. These people don't love Caitlin Clark. They love what they can use her for, right? They love to use her as a conduit for this, right? But let me play you the audio of Emmanuel Acho. And if my audio is down, you can't hear it, let me know. Hold on.
Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
I'll be right back.
Fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
People are vile, disgusting, racist, misogynistic, and sexist, veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark. I wake up at 6:50 a.m. to a no-caller ID number.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm listening to this voicemail.
Manuel Echo? Race baiting bigot?
Echo.
Man, stay out of women's basketball. You don't know fucking shit. Talking crap like that, man. Who the fuck you think you are? Think the blacks own the WNBA? Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
These have been intimidation tactics used by individuals that sound like him towards individuals that look like us for the course of time. Shady, the end was, you better shut the F up. You're going to get hung one of these days.
Okay.
You can't ignore.
That's sports. You gotta ignore. That's sports.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying what you can't ignore is you can't ignore the psychological impact that has on a human being.
Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
Go F yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch. Now that's what they decided to say to Emmanuel Acho, right? That's what they decided to say to Emmanuel Acho because of a Caitlin Clark tape, right? That's what they decided as adults. Because like I said, she's a cause for their racism. They mask it as we're defending her. So because we're defending her, I'm going to call you the hard ER. Because we're defending her, I'm going to say your life should be ended. Because we're defending her, I'm going to wish ill on you and your children, right? And who always gets me is Shady McCoy. And his name is exactly what it is, because he's exactly shady. And he says, we must ignore that, right? We must ignore that. I'm going to play it for you again for the ones that just got in here that didn't hear it. And what I'm talking about is the take that they gave, is how they talked to Emmanuel Acho. Right?
Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
People are vile, disgusting, racist, misogynistic, and sexist, veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark. I wake up at 6:50 a.m. to a no-caller ID number.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm listening to this voicemail.
Manuel Echo? Race baiting bigot?
Echo.
Man, stay out of women's basketball. You don't know fucking shit. Talking crap like that, man. Who the fuck you think you are? Think the blacks own the WNBA? Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
These have been intimidation tactics used by individuals that sound like him towards individuals that look like us for the course of time. Shady, the end was, you better shut the F up. You're going to get hung one of these days.
Okay.
You can't ignore.
That's sports. You gotta ignore. That's sports.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying what you can't ignore is you can't ignore the psychological impact that has on a human being.
Well, fuck you.
And that's what I'm talking about. They mask their hatred as in defense of her. Right? And Shady McCoy says that's sports. You have to ignore that. Right? You have to ignore some unhinged adult telling you you're going to get hung up, telling a black man you're going to get hung up because of your basketball take. It's always the Charlie Villanuevas. It's always the Shady McCoys. It's always those type of political sports head. And the reason I call out Charlie Villanueva because of his take and Raymond Felton, their takes on Jaylen Brown. They just basically told Jaylen Brown to shut up and dribble. But who was it? Was it Laura Ingraham when she told LeBron that? Now everybody wants to be in an uproar because she told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. But that's basically what you're telling an outspoken black man is to get in line, boss. He ain't working. Black males like Shady McCoy doesn't help the situation because they tell you to ignore their threats. That's sports. No, that's not sports. We teach our children in Pop Warner football. We teach children in AAU basketball good sportsmanship. So out of one side of your neck, Shady McCoy, y'all can't give takes on Caitlin Clark and say she needs to be defended. There's a target after her, but then tell him to turn around and handle a death threat by ignoring it. Right? Right? They can't help it. Like these goofies in my comments, they do it every day. Right? They are the adults that come. They lack such self-control. That's what they do. They love to come into your spaces and just insult you. Because that's all that racist white folks have is insults. Is their anger. Is their ability to say, we're going to cause harm to you because the world is ours. And then notice where he said, fucking think the blacks own the WNBA. But that person would not consider himself a racist. He would consider himself a truth teller. Fucking think the blacks own it. Because they have problems with us. But in projecting narcissistic fashion, that whenever we speak up, oh, you guys are being racist. And like I said on one of my other lives, we're not going to allow you just to throw that word around. Black people that are aware and capable, you shouldn't allow them just to throw that word around because they don't like your take. Because I say Caitlin Clark needs to get better defensively, doesn't mean I'm racist. You can't weaponize that. You know who makes it about race with Caitlin Clark? Racist white folks. They use her skin as a tool. I've always said to y'all, to you goofies in my comments, you don't care about her because she's just your cause. She's just a cause for you to get your hatred off of. Hatred is so woven into this country that when you defend it, they get offended. This is why Laura Ingraham can get up on TV and speak the way she speaks. This is why they can say they're crapping on America and changing the fabric. These people understand. These people understand. They might not be the smartest pencils or the sharpest pencils in the box, but they clearly understand. So, and then he pronounced his name wrong. He called him Emmanuel Anko. Now, he said this was at 6 something in the morning. Tell me when this is a normal thing, people. You're calling somebody from an unidentified number to harass them. To harass them. He said, this is the most low IQ drive I've heard. What's a drive, Goofy? You see what I'm saying? But he sits here. This is what I tell you about psychopaths. They sit there and they say, ooh, I don't like what he's saying. Ooh, he's so low IQ. Ooh, he's bothering me the whole. And that's what they do because they have to have a cause or they have to have something to build up their hatred. Oh, man. They have to have a cause. They are nothing. You are nothing in my life. That's why you need to be here. Being able to say dysfunctional things in people's lives that you don't agree with, because I'm sure you do it to white folks that you don't agree with too. Because hatred is your cause. I'm sure you do it to others that you don't agree with. Because that's the makeup of your IQ, sir or ma'am. But they're psychopaths, so that's like trying to tell a person that's talking to themselves that there's nobody there. There's something wrong up here. Nobody has a personal thing against Caitlin Clark, but they have to build up narratives. Notice this whole administration, they thrive off of giving dog whistles to stupids like the ones in my comments to tell them that, oh, the sky is falling. Mike Johnson, oh, the sky is falling. That psychopath Stephen Miller, oh, the sky is falling. Because their power is in their ability to rally the Klan. That's all they are. A bunch of inbred jackasses. Oh, the sky is falling. Look, they're busy telling me how I sound, but they're not going anywhere. The nature of the Karen. I'm going to knock on your door and tell you you're bothering me. I'm going to approach you and tell you you're bothering me. They are pathetic. That's why I read their comments to let you know how ridiculous they are on this side. Now they decided to get up at 9:30 in the morning. This is the first thing that he woke up with. To tell Emmanuel Acho that you're gonna get hung up. He wasn't talking about a telephone either. You're gonna get hung up one day because I can't take your basketball take. Who do you think you are to give this basketball take? But they can give a basketball take on LeBron James all day. They can give a football take on Lamar Jackson all day. They can give a critique on Shedeur Sanders all day. But the moment you give a critique on their great white hype or hope, depending on how you look at it, I can't take it. I can't take them having an opinion that don't align with mine, so I must burn their house or threaten their children. Because I'm sane. Don't you see I'm trying to civilize you people? I'm trying to civilize you people. So pardon me if I do something to harm you, because that's what you deserve. You gave a bad take on Caitlin Clark. You said she's not the best. I had somebody a couple of days ago, they were crashing out in my live because I said she was okay. She's good. She's decent, but it's not enough. It's not enough. So this is why Dookie Dunny says smart people don't like me. I love the poorly educated because he knows the stupidity of his followers. He knows I don't have to give them proof. All I can do is sell America to them. And every time I do those ones where I see the white guys interviewing MAGA, they just prove his point. They prove his point every time. I saw a Hispanic dude and he was trying to explain the tariffs, and he's such a dummy. He's got a big old Trump head around his neck. And the white guy's trying to explain how tariffs go to him, and he has no clue because he's the poorly educated. He's the smart. He's the opposite of the smart people that Donald Trump talks about, right? He had no clue what the hell he was talking about, and then once he realized the white guy educated him and let him know, he said, "Oh." But here you are, as a fool, have bet your farm on Donald Trump because he sold you America. He sold you the American dream. He sold you the American dream. And every time I say, when you're dreaming, you are in a sleep state. You are in a slumber. You are comatose. So it runs off of narratives. The narratives that illegals are coming. But they can usher in all of these white South Africans. I don't see them making a complaint about that. They can quietly usher in white South Africans and give them welcome packages, iPads, flags, copies of the Constitution, and stepped on history. That's fine. That's totally fine. Because racism is stupid. That's why it's always the more idiotic ones that are sitting in my comments just saying the most idiotic things. That my comments are just going. And notice they always just say the same thing. They don't have it. They just have the same thing to say over and over and over. Here's a low IQ individual. But ask them to really explain why they voted the way they voted, and they can't even tell you. Because he appealed to their IQ level. Same thing with you ignorant black MAGAs. Right? So Caitlin Clark is just a tool for white supremacy. She's a young lady too. She needs to develop like the rest of the girls. She needs to be given grace enough to work on her game just as well. But no, she's a cause. She's a cause for the ignorance. And the ignorant ones will get behind her and they will scream and they will demand, stop your takes. Billy says this is pure propaganda. You mean like Edward Bernays is propaganda? Surely you're talking about Edward Bernays' propaganda. That's propaganda, Billy boy. Right? See, if it was just opinions, though, Billy, it would be okay. Because we all have opinions. I have an opinion that Kobe Bryant is the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. It's an opinion. But like I started off with talking about psychopathic fan bases. When you're talking to the bronze sexuals, that opinion is not good enough. Because they have left the building of sanity, Billy. Same thing with the Clarkies. But the only thing with the Clarkies is there's racism tied to theirs, and we know racism get very dangerous. That's like the movie I always talk about, The American Society of the Magical Negro. And they said when white people get upset, bad things happen. Right? So for them to, and I'm going to play this audio one more time. We ready. Of course you are, Billy. I don't know what you're ready for, but I assume what you say you're ready for. I believe whatever you say you're ready for, Billy. Right? Because Billy is, from the threat, Billy is ready for whatever. Because they've been waiting on this moment. So I'm assuming Billy said he's ready for whatever to pop off. Because that's Billy's programming. Right? So if I think Billy is talking about what Billy's talking about, he's ready to execute his savagery and show how superior he is. Is that about it, Billy? Notice I'm never in their comments talking like this in their comments. But see, I learned to stop trying to reason with them long time ago. That was a long drag out too, wasn't it? Don't try to reason with them. Right? You can't reason with people that don't have logic. That's why I said if I assume what you're talking about, what are you ready for, Billy? I said if I assume what Billy's talking about, you said we're ready. Right? So we're not gonna play this mystery guessing game with you, Billy. You said you're ready. That's why I said ready for what? Right? But anyway, I'm gonna play this audio. I'm gonna play this audio one more time for the people that came in.
Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
People are vile, disgusting, racist, misogynistic, and sexist, veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark. I wake up at 6:50 a.m. to a no caller ID number. And this is the first time I'm listening to this voicemail.
Manuel Echo? Race banging bigot?
Yeah, Echo.
Man, stay out of women's basketball. You don't know fucking shit. Talking crap like that, man. Who the fuck you think you are? Think the blacks own the WNBA? Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
These have been intimidation tactics used by individuals that sound like him towards individuals that look like us for the course of time. Shady, the end was, you better shut the F up. You're going to get hung one of these days. Okay. You can't ignore.
That's sports. No, you gotta ignore. That's sports.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying what you can't ignore is you can't ignore the psychological impact that has on a human being.
Well, fuck yourself.
Right? So that's called narcissism, Billy. You still ain't told me what you're ready for. Right? You ain't tried too hard. I've tried more than once to block you, go figure. See how Billy lied? I didn't assume, Billy. I know exactly what you are. Right? And the other one, see, that's what I'm saying. You hear them? Here's a tool. The other one says, Reaper says, I'ma mute you. I don't like to listen to, and you're using the wrong to. I don't need to listen to TOO, another crybaby Reagan. Now, Reggin. Now flip that around, spell that backwards. Nigger. I told you. You guys can't help yourself. He's going to mute me. Get out of my live. You don't even have to mute me. You had to make a conscious effort to click on my thing, Reaper. Just like lying ass Billy. And Billy, if you still in here, you better be gone because you said peace. So if you're still in here, Billy, and you too, Reaper, after you guys are so exhausted, you ain't giving an opinion. Look, I thought you said peace. I thought you were leaving, Billy. They can't help it. Billy is the type of Karen that will say, I am leaving, and go sit in the back of the room. And then when you say, I thought you were leaving, I'm leaving when I'm good and ready. Oh man, look, now he said it again, laugh. I sleep well at night. I didn't ask you how you sleep, Billy. Now how we get, I thought you were leaving. See, people that's gone can't talk. I thought if you had that left the room, Billy, you can't even hear what I'm saying. But your psychopathic nature won't even let you leave. Oh, here come. Is Billy a real person, Dusty? Billy is a real person, is he? They all think they're real people, like Pinocchio. I'm a real live boy. um, well, good for you, Dusty. Dusty says, I respect America enough to know that it can do better. Thanks. Whatever that means. What does that mean, Dusty? Right? What does that mean, Dusty? Look. Now, Billy, who said he was leaving, Billy said peace and love 3 minutes ago, but somehow Billy is still in the room antagonizing. Oh man, he said I can't spell psychopathic, but he's behaving like a true one. He just said he's gone. He said he's gonna leave. They said they can't stand the sound of my voice. All of this, they don't like what I'm saying, but they're still here. Okay, Dusty said America can give health care. I'm gonna focus on Dusty because I always find the ones that seem like they can talk with enough reasoning, right? Because Billy don't have no reasoning. Billy and Reaper. Look, spell it then. Oh man, this is the type of people, Dusty. Oh man. America can build universal basic housing and income opt in, right? So let's talk about let's talk about that, Dusty. Dusty said he respects it enough to know that it can do better. So that means Dusty realized something is off. That's all it is, right? So in order to have real conversations, I have to be able to talk to real people that have a level of understanding, right? See, you can't talk when antagonizers like Reaper and Billy are in the room who still ain't left. Billy been leaving for the last 5 minutes, right? So notice they always find your spaces and tell you you're creating a problem. I didn't even know who Billy is. I don't know who Reaper is. But somehow they're over here telling me. So Billy and Reaper, how do y'all feel about Jake Lang? Jake Lang is being called out by another white person for attempting to talk to an underage decoy. How do y'all feel about that? Right? But it's always the ones, the same type of dude that was on Emmanuel Acho's answering machine is how Billy and Reaper behave. And the countless others that just come in just to tell me how much they can't stand what I'm saying. You know what I do when I can't stand what somebody's saying? Turn it off. But the people aren't healthy upstairs. It's why, you know what? I'm gonna do a whole live on this one day. It's YOU_RE. You told me I can't spell psychopath. You don't even know the type of "you're" to use, Billy. See, I'm gonna call y'all out every time y'all get in here trying to insult me and you use that wrong damn "you're." See, when you use that one, that shows possession, Billy. Like your shoe, right? But y'all be busy trying to insult somebody. Learn the proper word to spell. Learn the proper word to use. Because in your dumb, feeble, underdeveloped mind, you think black equals less than automatically. You were taught that at your dinner table. You've been taught that through your crowds that you hang with, your social circles. So you run around and you come with this notion. This is why y'all love and y'all call me all these N words. I don't even know, because guess what? Y'all don't even have enough guts to get behind a microphone and start a live and just say what you feel. So you are the descendants of your ancestors, because you have to do everything behind a private page or a faceless page, i.e. a hood. And you say the most gross things. But you're so conditioned, you don't even understand that there's something wrong with you. Right? See, you correct them and they still won't. He said, talk about something else. Prove you're cool. Same "you're." I just gave him a whole lecture about using the wrong "you're," and he gonna do it a goddamn again. See, this is what I'm saying. His mind thinks I need to prove something to him. They can't help it. It's in Billy's fabric. He can't help it. So when I do find a white person that can have just a bit of compassion, that's the one I'll focus on and talk to. Oh man, and they be trying so hard. Reaper is trying so hard. Little kids, you're mental children. And I laugh at you. I laugh at you because you're a joke. You're a joke. Oh, Regina's in the building. Hey, Regina. How's that $1 gas coming, Regina? Regina's in the building. Regina made a prediction. What was that, about 2 weeks ago, Regina? Where Regina said gas prices are going to be $1. Thanks, Trump. You still feel that way, Regina? Regina, you got time to change that opinion now. You got time to change that prediction, Regina. Because $1 gas is just asinine. Now tell me you done changed your mind, Regina. Okay, you say I can't wait to see where New York is going to. What you mean, Dusty? See, you being stubborn, Regina. I ain't talking to you, Reaper. You ignorant. You being stubborn, Regina. Regina say they will, just be patient. All right, give me a time frame, Regina. I'm not gonna let you get out of here. Give me a time frame around when this time you're gonna expect $1 gas. And you said even lower. I still got the receipt, Regina. So tell me, when will this happen? Give me a time frame. What? 3 months from now? No, 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 no. You always try this. We on God's time. Nope. Nope. When will gas be $1? Social program have reduced. Social program have reduced to Chicago, and it looks like the same is happening in New York. Are you in? Are you And you don't have to say if you don't want to, Dusty. Are you in New York? If you don't want to put you don't have to, or you don't have to put exactly where you are. Dusty, not Dusty. Billy, you still here? Oh my goodness. I ain't never seen the most talkative man that's supposed to not be here. Okay, well, go do your job, Billy. Whatever you okay. Now he says, okay, back to work. I got a real job. Okay, cool. Go do your job, Billy. Oh man. Like I said, this is how you know that they are real bitches. Because they cry about the smallest infraction, huh, Mike Johnson? They cry about the smallest things. And they be in your life trying hard. Trying hard. He said, later, thanks, talk soon. Now, if you don't like somebody's life, why would you want to come back to talk more? Now, okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So no, because you were making and I'm talking to Dusty. And I was just asking because you were saying about the state of New York, right? And so yeah, if you don't have to, you don't have to say where you are. And do you necessarily like small towns, Dusty? Or are you more so of a city person? Which one do you find more beneficial? Did I see who, Regina? Jesse Smaller? Who is that, Regina? And I saw, hey, Regina, I saw your prediction. Let me go back up. You said 2 weeks. All right, Regina. So 2 weeks. And I know you'll be back in my live, Regina. So in 2 weeks, Regina, if that daggone gas is not under $1, are you willing to admit you're wrong? Hmm? Are you willing to? Okay, she said yes. God dang it, Regina. Sometimes I feel like I might be moving a half an inch with you, Regina. Just a half an inch. Billy, I thought you were going to work. Oh, Billy just can't go. He can't pull himself away. Like I said, I tried blocking you, but you keep popping up. He just told me. Now he just told me 8 minutes to 10 minutes ago that he was leaving. Now he say, now he say later. Now watch he come back. Oh, listen, even Regina's not this bad. Even Regina. Now I make fun, I mess with Regina, but even she not this bad. She make bad predictions now. She make terrible predictions. Don't ever think you make good predictions, Regina. Like, I don't want you making predictions on who you think gonna win any sports, because all your you've given this gas prediction, it's terrible. But even she can sit and just have somewhat, keyword, somewhat of a decent conversation. Nope. And what I find in my lives, that it is the white males that behave the most childish. Most of the white females, they make outlandish talking points like Regina. But it's mostly the white males that have no self-control. unhinged, love to call names. And these are the ones that get behind Caitlin Clark, like that yo-yo that called Emmanuel Acho at 6 something in the morning, almost 7 in the morning. Okay, Dusty says, I love that I can go to a Buddhist temple Monday and a Muslim mosque Tuesday to attend making event even in the Jewish community. Okay, so I see where you're going. But see, that's the thing that what are we? Okay, back to Dusty. That you know, that's the thing that it's the option, right? So when you hear them talk about free speech, right? Like the one that Phil Chad, the builder, he was just using free speech. See, it's what they determine that it is. Like that live I had a couple of days ago when I said, white America don't really care about crime. They care about the narrative. And I asked that question about Jake Lane, and that white guy calling out Jake Lane for attempting to talk to an underage decoy. Nobody talked about that. Because that's the nature of it. So it's like Dusty saying that he likes those options of Buddhism. He likes those options of Islam. But nope. They said nope, it's gonna be one, and we're gonna minimize it. Now, I always thought that sounds like New World Order. Now what is that? Okay. All right, Regina. Now this first time I've seen you say something like this now. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Here I go, Regina. Regina says, I want the government to leave me alone. What is that? Now, what you mean by that, Regina? When you say leave you alone, what you mean by that? That's a conflict. Yet then there's a mutual respect. Mostly your money. Okay. So Regina, how do you feel about what bothers? Let me ask you this question. Okay, you said mostly your money. What's your biggest gripe to the government? What is Regina's biggest gripe that you're unhappy as an American white woman? I'm assuming. Correct me if you're not a white woman. But as an American white woman, what is your gripe toward the system? You said your money. What concerns you? What concerns you, Dusty? Now, see, this person just built the whole thing up of something that I didn't say. See, this is what they do. So we're copying that people are more famous than you for calling out the black community, and that's why you're mad. What are you even talking about? So he had to sit because he asked me that question the first time, and then I'm gonna talk to Regina. He asked me that question the first time. I ignored it. So he had to hear what he thought I was saying and build up a whole talking point around. See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, let's talk. Let's talk to Regina. Oh, goddamn it! There go that word. There go that D word. There go that D word, Regina. Democrats. Okay. No. Okay. Hold on, Regina. Regina says Democrats. I'm more concerned for my fellow man's soul. I am get out on this limb again, Regina. When you say you're more concerned for your fellow man's soul, what are you talking about? What do you mean? All right, my Dusty says the government does leave Christians alone. Okay. Freedom of religion also means freedom from. Right. See, I think that when we see the word freedom, because it's like freedom to do what? So to me, freedom is subjective, Dusty. And I'm not saying your point is wrong, but this is what I'm saying. Freedom is, like you said, freedom of religion also means freedom from. That means you should be able to have a choice, right? I told you, boy, they are so goofy. You at least try it. Like, and you know what, Dusty? I don't answer that because I've answered that question about my flag several times. And they come in and they make the most ridiculous assumptions. They come in and say the most ridiculous things. Because see, all of these things, and it's always a tester of what bothers people. A lot of people, Regina done said in my comments and said a lot of crazy stuff about their gas, but she don't never have a tizzy about my damn flag back there. I pay attention to who bothered by what. Now, Regina does think the Democrats are bad, and I'm neither. But I look at the politician, Regina. Now, I'm gonna read your comments. I want to be able to have freedom of religion. God don't push himself on anyone. All right, Regina, you said, I want to be able to have freedom of religion. God don't push himself on anyone. All right, so Regina, let me ask you this question. And you know what? I can respect that. I can respect your POV, Regina. But do you think that Christianity should be forced on everybody else? Do you think that Christianity should be the one and only? And do you think that Bible and biblical verses should be taught in the school? And for the ones that don't accept it or not Christians, do you think that they should be? Do you think that they should be penalized or forced to read the Bible? I can agree with that. Freedom is a construct. We are technically free. I'm gonna do the quote fingers in America. Yet, if you're told from birth you are evil from birth, that you will go to a bad place. If you don't believe in God, that's not absolutely okay. See, I can rock with that, Regina. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna get to you in a minute, Regina. But Dusty, absolutely, because this whole thing of purgatory, right? This whole thing that if you don't do what, cause like Regina said, um, God don't force Himself on nobody, or it. You know what? This is my opinion. Whose opinion? This is my opinion that I feel like even the to force that God is a man is a system, is a level of control, right? When we say he don't like that. He don't like that. How do we know that God is a man per se? So the thing of, like you said, freedom is a construct. So I have the free will until until it bothers somebody else's opinion, then it's not free. God gives us free will. Uh, let me see. Let me see what I think about that. I think that's subjective in a sense, Regina. Um, what is free will to you, Regina? Because I still agree with like Dusty. Like it's a construct in a sense, right? Because I have free will within certain parameters. So how much freedom do I really have? Right? My thing about voting for politicians, Democrat, Republican, whatever third party, whatever that is that are we really being given the best candidates, or are we being given the candidates that they're telling us is the best? See what I'm saying? How much free will do you have in a real vote, Regina? But see, God, you said God told Adam and Eve told Adam and Eve free will to eat of the tree of knowledge. But was it free if he already knew that what they were gonna do? See, if God already knew what they were gonna do, was it really free will? You get what I'm asking? Right? And so sometimes we force our God on others, our parents on us on our children, our community on us, even with the best intentions. We are taught one thing in isolation of others. Yet, absolutely. But do you think that God knew that they were going to do that? You said God told them they would die if they ate it. Exactly. That's specifically because I remember having a conversation with a close friend of mine, Dusty, and they were telling me that, and I said, "Well, you're only your religious choice or your religious denomination because that's the way you grew up. Like if you didn't grow up with that denomination, you wouldn't have been that denomination." And they argued me down, Dustin. They said, "Yes, I would." I said, "No, you wouldn't. That was the choice your family gave you, right? That was the choice your family gave you. To me, it's like you said. To me, is I have the option to choose. Like with me, I've studied different ones. I've had many different walks, right? So you might see this behind me, but this doesn't just I'm not just limited to this. Because one thing I saw that you pointed out, Dusty, you pointed out like Buddhism, right? So to understand the state of nirvana, so we have to learn to accept other people's opinions, other people's views, right? And that's when the waters get muddy, right? Right. He said that, but he already knew though, Regina. That what I'm saying is, Regina, absolutely, that's what was said. But do you think God already knew the choice because they said God knows everything, right? That's what I'm asking is, do you think God knew what they were going to do from the start? But yet He gave them the free will. That's why I'm gonna tell y'all a movie I like, and I've talked about it on here, and I'm not talking to you goofies that um The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino. One of Al Pacino's many phenomenal roles. And when Al Pacino gets to talking about that, right? I always like that part of the movie. Because he said, and I'm paraphrasing, God is a sadistic, sick son of a bitch. And he goes into these choices. Okay, so you said, okay, so Regina says, God loves us and wants us to love him. God didn't make robots. So how much do you okay, I agree with that, Regina. So now let me ask you a question. If God doesn't make robots, how open are you to respecting people's different points of views? Now you've told me you're a Trump supporter, and you're not an obnoxious Trump supporter. At least I don't think from what you've been coming. You've been in my life a few times, right? But can you be respectful to a Democrat, right? Okay, you say I respect everyone. So you don't necessarily get into a rage over a Democrat. You can actually sit down and have a conversation with a Democratic white person, black person, or whoever. Right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong also. Didn't you say something about now wasn't one of your things that you like? Now I could be wrong, Regina. Correct me if I'm wrong. But wasn't one of your things that you liked were how the immigration policy, the borders, right? Well, Regina said, "My brother disowned me for being MAGA." Ah, Regina. Ah, that's muddy waters, Regina. um, I'm gonna say this because I think I have a friend. Okay, hold on. He was a he was a communist. Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay, so Regina, I want to talk about what I want to talk about is disowning people for their political views. Um, okay, this is how I feel about that. Because I think I have a close friend who tells me they're not MAGA, but I think in his and this is a black guy, Regina, but I think in their talking points, this is a black person. They're MAGA. Um, we've had hard conversations about that. And I would never want to be okay. This is what makes me distance myself from MAGA. That when they can't be objective. When you can't be objective, Regina, and when you can see injustices happening and you rationalize it. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care your sexual preference. If you're this type of follower, I don't know how well we'll do because you're so fanned out to a side that you can't see humanity. So therefore, in my opinion, Regina, if you're so MAGA, you're gonna put MAGA above God. You're gonna put Trump above God. So that's the conflict of like the whole God and religious thing. Because to me, you can't say God loves everybody, but then want immigrants to be harmed. And then when we say illegals, you can't point out they're illegals and then skip over Jake Lane talking to a would-be 15-year-old decoy, right? So I don't know if it was fair or foul. I would probably have to, if your brother was giving his reason why he disowned you. Now listen, Regina, I've seen that happen a lot now. I've seen that happen a lot uh, from people that I know directly or indirectly. I've seen a lot of people disown people over those political views. Because I think what it is too, Regina, it's like if you were one of those people that voted for Dookie all three times, it's like, are you getting the lesson? So how it comes across to like, because I've had white people on my panels and white people on my lives, and they'll say, they'll reject Donald Trump and they'll say, I don't follow him anymore. And they'll say now, and this was recent. This was like a few months ago, Regina. And I had a white guy on there. He said, I reject Donald Trump because Donald Trump lied. And I said, well, at what point did you realize he lied? And he said it was the third time. It was this time. So I think what a lot of times people, I can't speak for your brother, Regina, but people like, yo, you've seen this terrible thing happening over and over, and you continuously supported it. So when your brother disowns you, like, how did that make you feel? How did that like? Have you spoken to your brother? Right? Should let men play in women's sports. But you know what? I think, Farm Boy, I think that No, and I'm answering your question. No, transgender should not be allowed to play in sports, but in women's sports. But I think that everybody rally around that, and like Dusty said, we care more about that than health care for people that need it. Right? I've went on record plenty of times and said I don't support the LGBT agenda. I don't. I'm like this farm boy. Like what Dusty was saying with religion. I can respect anybody's rights. I can respect anybody's sexual preference. I can respect anybody's way of view. But when it comes to where you want to force it, and there's an outcry of something because it's not being accepted, that's when I have a problem, farm boy. So when we say men playing in women's sports, well, which one is a direct harm to you? A man playing in women's sports or healthcare that could affect your family? Right? And that's where the waters get muddy. And it's like, you're okay with billionaires. Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire. Billionaires with B's. Right? You're okay with them being given more. But they programmed you to make you feel like healthcare is a bad thing. Healthcare is a charity. And that's what I can't get into when you tell me you're a person of God. Right? Let me see what y'all saying. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna read yours, and I gotta go back a little bit. Okay. I'm just trying to catch up, Regina and Dusty. See, okay, so you said no. What makes me distance myself is the disordinance. Being unable to have hard conversations objectively, even if we are all biased. You know what, Dusty, and I hope you follow me, man. Dusty, are you a white man? And I probably will get to that answer later. Dusty, I like people that's able to be objective. I don't care your view. And it's like I told that close friend, I don't care where you voted. But can we have these hard conversations? Can you be honest about what you're saying? So what I would tell the people, Dusty, that would say they voted because they wanted to protect the children from the LGBT thing. And I would say, okay, well, how do you feel about the Epstein? You can't tell me you want to protect children from one thing, but turn a blind eye to another. So that, to me, that's kind of like what you're talking about, Dusty, to where can you have an honest, open, unbiased, no matter, we all might have a bias in a way, but are you able to see through that? That's what makes it hard to have conversations. Okay, let me read the rest of it. Right, should let me. Okay, I already got to that one, farm boy. God, husband, children, then everyone else. Okay. He died. Oh, he died of liver cancer last month. Oh, that's. Oh, dang, Regina. She said he died of liver cancer last month. Had not talked to him in 7 years. And see, that's where politics makes things. That's one of them things right there. God, wife, children, then everyone else. Then husband. Jewish joke. Most Jewish sex see. See women as. We don't really have a spiritual triad. Okay. But yeah. Okay, I was just reading your comments. Yeah, but no, that's interesting. And man, that's one of those things right there, Regina. That something like a political side. Okay, I follow. I'm agnostic, queer, identify with my Jewish roots, and my fight for heathen. See now, but see, that's the thing, okay? Again, see, and you all right, you all right with being able to hear opposing views, Dusty. I will give you that. Because you sit up here and listen to me say, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the non-binary stuff, but you're able to accept my POV. That's what, to me, that's what makes stuff. To be able to have conversations. And that's why I don't really give those racists that's in the comments that they just want to come in and antagonize, use the hard ER, because they can't take differences. So anything that doesn't look like them, they want to destroy it. And that's not what's up. I've never gotten to the extreme to where no, I'm not with they them, but I've never been so extreme that I wanted to see them hurt. Right? So I think once we begin to understand people's POV, then we can at least start to have conversations. It don't mean we're gonna all hold hands and sway and get along, but we're at least able to have conversations. That's why I say I will pick on Regina. I will laugh at Regina's gas prediction, but she has never gotten in this live and called me the hard ER. Right? That's not necessary. I argue even the human body betrays the idea of being binary, with hormones to even our genes. Um, I don't know. I think that's one of them things that you'll argue, Dusty. Because I believe it's like it's your level of consciousness of how you look at it, right? Because I remember a dude, what was his name? Matt Walsh. And Matt Walsh had this documentary, it was like What is a Woman or something to that nature. I think that's the name of it. Don't quote me on that, Dusty. And the thing that people got to a point where they started to feel like they couldn't identify what exactly is a woman. It's like, well, hold on, how did we get to this point? And so many people got behind Matt Walsh, but I don't trust Matt Walsh either because of a lot of his views. So what I won't get behind, no matter how much I disagree with that. I disagree with all of this stuff being taught to children. I disagree with there's an interesting video I watched quite a few years back, maybe about 2 or 3 years. And they were talking about what's happening in the Tavistock Institute. One of the interesting things that y'all might want to look into. And they were talking about they had this one transgender that was on there, Dusty. And I always try to call them by their natural gender. And that's for my clarity, not for disrespect. And I think that it was a woman by natural. And she was against it. She was against them giving young children puberty blockers. Right? And the thing that I can't get with to bring it to a close, the thing I couldn't get with that once the quote unquote LGBT, non-binary, all of that, they came after her because she was simply saying, yo, Don't give those puberty blockers to those children because they're not done growing. Let them experience things, right? But it's called a choice. That's why we said if choices and freedom is a construct, it's like it's a choice. So you're saying a child is able to um, decide what sex or gender they're gonna be, but they can't buy alcohol, right? So I think that we have to understand the situation we're putting people in because we want to push these extreme views. But I would never get behind here and say that LGBT deserves to be even our consciousness around it. One thing I can say is that even before I knew what NB was, I was called tomboy. Matt Walsh is Matt Walsh is definitely not a good faith argument maker. Right. That's why I said, now I didn't disagree with a lot of what Matt Walsh was saying pertaining to that. But when you look at the whole, see, that's what I'm saying. You might agree with somebody on the one thing. That's why I'm careful to who I start to align with. Because we have a common interest or we can agree with this. Like I would always joke, I would say, there's one or two things I agree with Donald Trump on. But that doesn't mean I'm going to align myself with him because I agree with one or two things because we have to look at the entire picture, right? And the thing that I can't get with is like, you don't have to insult a people, right? So I think that, like you said, we have to just be able to have conversations. And the more we peel back those layers, then we have to see what we're really dealing with. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I enjoy people that are able to come in. Okay, last time. Okay, and I'm gonna respond to this one before I get out. You says just as we should be exposed to many religions, we should let people express their gender in public, how they feel. But I do think, okay, there should be limits because again, you don't want a religious nut in public. I think people should be able to exercise their religion, right? But we don't want a religious nut that's running around condemning people to hell, attempting to baptize people. It's the level of extreme, right? It's the level of extreme. What's my limit to what? To what specific part? To religion? Is when the person with whatever they want to express don't have a limit into how they want to express it. I'll just say that to cover. If we I think one's liberty ends at the body of another, if that makes sense. Go into it a little bit more. I kind of see, but I don't like to make assumptions unless you racist Billy, who finally got the hell out of my life. Um, because it's like, okay, let me give you an example. You said we should let people express their gender in public how they desire. See, it's the word of how they desire. Because even with public display of affection, now I'm a straight man. But even public display of affection toward my woman, I have limits of how much affection I'll display. Because affection is not wrong. But we have to remember that we can't turn this into a scene or something because you still have to respect everybody else. And that don't mean you have to care about what people think. So it's like how you're the two levels of extreme, right? If that makes sense what I'm saying, Dusty. So you don't have to be extreme and not to show any type of PDA, but you can't also be extreme and damn near have a whole makeout session and go to bed in front of everybody, right? Moderation. I like these comments because I know what they thought. They thought that I was gonna see a lot of times, especially when I talk about Caitlin Clark. I think that they think that I'm gonna come in and because I'm a black man, I'm going to hurl insults at a fragile white girl. Okay, you says like you don't want your girl kissing too much in public. Your body. I do draw the line at not literally making out on the street corner too. That's all I'm saying. A moderation of something. Have you a drink, but don't get so drunk that you can't control yourself. Your argument limits. And because somebody has a limit, it doesn't mean they're policing. It's all on how you do things, right? I have the freedom to express my political views. But when I'm up here just going ham with no bread, no. And I'm never gonna use the words and say that make me just like white. No, it doesn't make me just like racist white folks. Because I would never have the power, nor is it in me to follow them through their neighborhood with bad intentions. Right? So I think it's how we have to look at things. I believe that also 2K. Um, I believe that people can do what they want, but it's like, I guess what's gonna stop those two men from doing that? Certainly, by me being a straight man, I'm not gonna just step to them because they decided to do that. But don't it's just like religion. Don't infringe upon my space with that, right? And once we begin to start having conversations, we'll at least get a mutual level of respect, right? It's only that you'll see a different side when you come in and meet me with disrespect. Then there's a different level. See, rat on rat power. See? And that's probably an adult. My goodness. That's probably an adult. That's probably somebody's parent that just comes and decided that that was a good thing to just comment for no reason. But that's my spiel for today. I appreciate everybody that came in, had had conversations, commented, except for the goofies. But they're always gonna be here. But I appreciate you. Peace.